Good morning, Mike Brailsford, Brailsford Woodworks. Thank you for joining me back on my channel. Today I'm going to do some product review. I'm going to show you the belt sanders that I have currently and what I've just purchased. So to start, I'm going to give you a background on some of the ones I have and where I stand with them. This one here, it's a Porter Cable 3x21. I've had it since probably 1988. As you can see, it still has the proudly made in the USA label. As we all know, for Porter Cable, that's ancient history. It's seen a lot of use. When I bought it, I was pretty dirt poor, and I had just bought my first house, and I actually refinished the floors in a room with this, and it saw a lot of use. Heck, the cord now is only about 30 inches long. Got it's taken a lot of abuse, but at some point back in the early 2000s, it stopped working on me, and I kind of put it aside. I'll take a look at it at some point, and I was in kind of a panic because I was doing a job I needed it, so I bought this one. This is a Dewalt. It served me pretty well. One of the things I like about it is the roller system, that the plating goes much further to the front. You can get up closer to an object, front of an object, if you're working on something, and not roll over it. It's got multi positions for the handle if you want to be in if this was more comfortable for you, you can move it down here. It's got a very good dust collection system, but I was just using this one the other day. It was working just fine, and then it just died. I'm hoping that it's just brushes, and again, I've got a lot on my plate right now. I really don't have time to go and look into them, so I'm setting this one aside. So when this one died, I went back to this one because I had at one point replaced the brushes, and I was using it, and I think the replacement brushes have failed. So these two, right now, out of the picture. So back in the early 2000s, I had been renovating my kitchen at my last house, and needed to do some small adjustments to doors and things, and be able to do some contours for when I cut in boards up against an existing wall. And I saw this one. This is a Porter Cable. This is their, what is it? 2.5 by 14. I call it the armadillo because it kind of looks like an armadillo. And this has been a very handy sander. I don't use it very much, but when I need it, it comes in really handy. I've used it a lot for what I originally bought it for. When I've had friends and things that have had a door that's sticking, and it's easy just to grab this and put a little, work out the edge of a door, and it'll close just fine. This one and this one were both bought when Porter Cable was their own entity. Back in the day, Porter Cable was a great brand. Almost all of my routers are Porter Cable. I still buy them. I try to find them at pawn shops if I can. Matter of fact, I just bought myself a D-handled router at a pawn shop just the other day. But they were a much stouter brand, I think, than they are since Dewalt Black & Decker took them over. But some of their bigger tools are still fairly stout, which brings me to my big boy. I got my 4x24 belt sander. I bought this one when I was building my shop. I wanted some way to take the roughness off the beams. I didn't want them planed. I didn't want them perfect. I just wanted the real roughness off. Just put just a slight, just make them easier to work with and not get so many splinters. So I had this. I bought this one, and I used it with like a 50 grit, and even that I could have gone more aggressive with had I wanted to. But this has been a good machine. One of the things about Porter Cable, I would say, they've always lacked on all their sanders is their cords could be longer. The Dewalt has a very long cord. The location of the speed control, that's always been fairly convenient, and I don't hit it when I'm working. Where the one on the Dewalt is down here. It's at basically the heel of my hand, and I would constantly be changing the speed on that when I didn't want to. That's one of the bad points on the Dewalt. But the Porter Cable, it's up here. It's out of the line of fire, and it works well. But I don't use this one very often because it's just too darn big. So with that, I really had a gap for a 3x21 sander, and I really needed it because I'm working on my cafe table project for UNC Rex Healthcare in Holly Springs, North Carolina, the new hospital they're building. And I'm doing all their cafe tables and finishing off the edges and things like that. I wanted my 3x21 for working on that. And so I stopped at the Klingspor woodworking store yesterday and I bought a new one. Let's take it out. So I bought the Makita 3x21 sander. The reason I've done that is that I'm an electrician by trade, and way back in the day, my first battery drill was the Makita 9.6. It was a drill that everybody had. The thing was absolutely bulletproof. I've had two quarter sheet Makita palm sanders that I've had forever, and one of them finally just failed, and those have been probably my most used sanders of all types that I've had. I use them a lot, and they didn't owe me anything, and when it finally gave up the ghost, well, that's it. But not too long back, I purchased Makita 6-inch random orbit sander, and I have just been blown away by that. It is one of the smoothest, best working orbital sanders that I've had, and I've decided that, you know what, from now on I'm going to give Makita a shot for my hand tools, the hand power tools, and because they make great stuff. So let's take a look at what they got here. The safety warnings, because you don't want to accidentally sand yourself. It's got a nice dust bag, and wow, a very long cord. Let's see how long this baby is. I'd say this is all of 10 feet long, 12 feet long. This is very impressive. Well, let's see. Again, another nice feature on this one. The speed control is here. It's out of the way of my hand, so when I'm operating it, I'm not going to hit it. It's pretty much the same standard design as the traditional belt sander. Big wheels, front and back, centered platen, and you know, that's fine. I mean, for what I use it for, it seems like it'll do the job. I like the fact that the dust collecting bag is not sticking out the top like the Porter Cable. I've always found this was kind of an annoying spot and got kind of in the way. And this seems like it's kind of back behind me. Let's see how that's going to work. Yeah, let's give it a quick try and see how it works. So I've got a piece of the ambrosia maple that I've been making the cafe tables with. It's rough cut, So I think that'll probably be a good test piece. Safety first. Alright, quick first impression. Just like the random orbit sander, this thing runs very smoothly. It is kind of a pleasure to use, honestly. My hands are pretty big. This is a little bit of a tight grip fit, but that's fine. I can work with that. But just smooth as silk, honestly. Let's see. I mean, it does a fine job. I mean, it's sanding the way I wanted it to. Yeah, this does a good job. See how nicely it is to adjust the tracking. Tracking works very nice. You don't have to turn very much to get a result, but it doesn't go super abruptly either, which is nice. So it looks like about a quarter of a turn, maybe slightly more, got me about 1/8 of an inch change in the tracking of the belt. So let's see. So right now, this is, I'm happy I bought it. It's nice and smooth. And I would say that if it holds up the way all the other Makita tools I've had have held up, I'm be pretty pleased with it. So let me work with it, and I will give you an update at some point later on, tell you what I think. All right, so that was it for today, short and sweet. Thank you all for watching. Excuse my attire. I'm dressed for work and ready to keep going on all those projects I got. But if you like what you've seen, take a look at some of my other content. I'd appreciate it. Please click the like and subscribe button. I'd appreciate that too. And as always, please stay safe. Bye-bye.